If you've never been to SHOT Show and you've always wanted to go, this video is for you. I recently picked up a 360-degree camera. It's the Insta360 One X. And it's one I picked up after seeing some reviews. Decided I'd try some moto stuff, some other experimental stuff. I actually put it on the front of my Subaru and drove down the Arizona Strip with this camera on the front. Show you a little bit of footage of that. I thought it'd be fun to get some footage of different things with this type of camera, but when I got to SHOT Show, I realized this is a perfect opportunity to give you guys a tour of the SHOT Show experience. Again, for those of you who have never done it and who would like to see it someday. So one more note about the camera, it's pretty interesting because I can actually do all this turning and panning and looking in post. I upload the video to my phone and then I can use my phone to sort of turn in place and reframe the image to capture whatever I want to present to you. But in reality, it's capturing, like the name suggests, 360 degrees of video. So top, bottom, side to side, everything all at once. It's really wild technology. It's been out for a while, I realize, but this is kind of my first experience using it. And as I said before, I think this SHOT Show floor walkthrough is the perfect opportunity to use this camera to its fullest potential. One of the interesting things is, and you'll see this in the video, the selfie stick that the camera comes with actually gets completely clipped out of the video during capture. So the software knows the stick is there and knows where it goes, and it can just completely clip it out of the video. So if at some point during this video I'll pan down to myself and you'll see that I'm holding my hand up as if I've got a selfie stick in it, but you see no stick. It's really wild. Anyway, on to SHOT Show. Let's talk about all of that. So let's begin by talking about my first SHOT Show experience, which was around 5 years ago. I was completely overwhelmed going to SHOT Show. Now, I'm the kind of guy that gets a little bit of trip anxiety anyway, no matter what I'm doing that's new. So there was that rolled into it. But on top of that, it's just an overwhelming experience. If you're going there for the first time, particularly if you don't know what to expect and you're not sure how much there is, you really can't picture it. You can't envision it. There's so much to see. The 4 days they give you is hardly enough time. So to describe the floor real quickly, it's in the Sands Convention Center in Las Vegas. There's a big main hallway that kind of leads from, I think it's the Venetian, into the Sands. And in that big hallway, as you turn to the right, there's a big ballroom full of one type of gear and guns and etc. And then there's off to the left of that, and I never show this in the video, but there are a handful of other ballrooms full of other types of gear. And then in the floor above that, there's the next pavilion, which is all sort of the first time visitors to SHOT Show, the first time they're displaying at SHOT Show, and they all have these little tables that they show their stuff at. And then there's the media room. An interesting side note, my first 1 or 2 SHOT Shows, I don't think I ever stepped foot in the media room. Didn't even realize that that was an amenity I could use. So never went in there for the internet, never got any juice, never sat down and visited with anybody. I had my backpack on the entire time at the show, set my camera up on the fly and went straight to the show, then straight back to the hotel after the show. I don't think I ever stopped moving the first couple of shows. And now back to my first SHOT Show. I don't think I ever spent time on the actual main floor upstairs until my second or third day there. I was downstairs. I was in the small ballrooms down there, and then I was on the big floor in the basement. I was seeing everything down there for a long time. I never found my way up to the main upstairs floor till, like I said, the second or third day. It was a weird experience doing that the first time at SHOT Show. I kind of wish that I'd gone with somebody who had been there before to sort of show me the ropes. But after 5 years, I've certainly learned the ropes. But we're walking around on the main floor now, which is where all the sort of really big names have their booths. This is sort of the grand area that everybody wants to get up to. I noticed that this year, 2019, CRKT, Columbia River Knife and Tool, did bring their booth up to the main floor. They're just a short walk from Benchmade, a stone's throw actually, which is kind of a prestigious thing. You know, the main show floor is kind of where all the biggest names are. Glock, Remington, SIG, all the really huge ones. Of course, NRA's got a massive booth there. All the really huge names are there on the main floor. These are the guys that can spend the most money, and they do. And as I'm doing this walkthrough, I'm really not showing you even a fraction of everything that's on the main floor or the lower floor. I'm not sure where I'm at in the video by this time. I can't even show you a fraction of all of it. I mean, maybe a tenth is what you're actually seeing, but there's just so much. This floor just seems to go on forever. There's new vendors, new things to see, new displays to see everywhere you turn. A lot of the vendors bring sort of their same booth back year after year, at least 2 or 3 years in a row, and then we'll kind of revamp it all every maybe second or third year, which is always kind of cool to see. In most cases, I think depending on who you are and how you're approaching, you'll kind of be treated a little differently. If you're somebody who is clearly there to make some deals and buy some of their stuff, they'll set you down at a table in the back, give you some special attention, and you see a bit of that throughout the show. And those folks are kind of what the show is really there for. Obviously, this is an industry. People are trying to make money, and so they're trying to make some deals with folks that want to spend money on their stuff. Guys like me, media, will generally need to set some kind of an appointment. If I just show up cold, I'll usually be told to come back at another time when somebody is ready for me. Occasionally, depending on the booth size and the type and you know who's running it and what they're doing and how badly they want attention, yeah, they will kind of take me cold. In fact, my first year there, I didn't set a single appointment. Second year, I think I only set some appointments there at the show. This year, my 5th year, I was only there for a day and a half at the main show, plus range day. So I actually set all appointments and didn't do anything cold. Everything was set up in advance. I keep hearing that spectators are allowed at SHOT Show and that you can get a spectator badge. However, I've got no clue how that works. I've never applied for one. I've always gone the media route, and that's kind of how I've always done SHOT Show. So like I said before, 2019 was my 5th year at SHOT Show. I decided to do a shorter version of the show this year, just 2.5 days, once again, including range day. And I did that primarily because, yeah, as much as I can get expenses covered through sponsorships and so forth, I can never ever make up for vacation time that I got to take away from my real job. I just don't get that reimbursed in any way, shape, or form. So that is a fixed expense. There's no way to make up for that expense. And that's time that I don't get to spend with my family. That's time that I don't get to spend doing things that I really enjoy. Not to say that I don't enjoy SHOT Show, but there are tons of other things that I'm interested in. I like going to get some firearms training every once in a while. I like going for a motorcycle camping trip every once in a while. I want to do other things. And so I need to kind of budget that time. Once again, it's a very finite resource because of the type of job I have. And so I need to budget that, and I need to just give a short amount of time to SHOT Show this year. That was a hard decision to make, but I felt like I really needed to do it, and I hope you guys don't feel like my coverage suffered as a result of that. I think it still worked out pretty well. I was able to set up a ton of good appointments and pump out upwards of 30 videos, if I remember correctly. Related to that point, and I hadn't really made this decision before going to SHOT Show, but I'm pretty positive that 2019 will be my last year at SHOT Show. I don't think I'll be going back for 2020. 5 years is enough for me. So I hope you enjoyed my coverage in the past, but I won't be doing any coverage in the future. In fact, I would say I'm 99% certain of that. Things can happen, but I'm 99% positive that I'm just not going to go back to SHOT Show again. And as I say that, look guys, I realize that in some ways I sound kind of ungrateful and jaded, and I don't want to be that way, because there's so many of you guys who've never been, who would love to go and really want to do it. And you're looking at me going, he's been there 5 years and he's tired of it? Come on, man, it's amazing. It's Disneyland. How can you be tired of Disneyland? I mean, it's tough for me to express why I'm not going to do it again. There's a lot going into it, but I'll just say this. If you want to attend SHOT Show, become media. Start a blog, start a YouTube channel, start something. Give yourself a reason to go, and then give them a reason to invite you or to accept your application. Go and do it. Just go and do it. Go and see it. And after you've done it for 5 years, send me an email and tell me if you're going to do it for a 6th year or not. There have been a lot of other YouTube channels you might have noticed who have done SHOT Show many years in a row and then just kind of stopped going. They got all the contacts they needed. They had no other reason to do it. That's not exactly the boat that I'm in necessarily. But, you know, a lot of guys kind of decide to stop going at some point. There are other big shows as well. There's Blade Show, there's NRA Show. There are a number of other opportunities to see really cool stuff. And by the way, as I understand it, Blade Show is open to the public and NRA is open to anybody with an NRA membership. So these events are kind of like SHOT Show. They're sort of like a small version of it, or a slightly different version of it, and they're more open to the public. So if you want the sort of SHOT Show experience without actually going to SHOT Show, you can get probably 80% of it at one of these other shows, or maybe both of those other shows. But that's kind of my advice. So if you've never been to SHOT Show, you've always kind of wanted to go to SHOT Show, do it. All you got to do is become media or have a good reason to go, and then just go, man. Get yourself in there. I know a lot of guys who've wanted to go real bad, and they made a way, and they got there, and they saw all the cool stuff. Again, if you don't care about seeing SHOT Show necessarily, but you want to see something kind of similar to it, NRA is way more accessible, as is Blade Show. So, having said all that, guys, I hope this little walkthrough of the SHOT Show floor, again, this is maybe 10% of the show, if that. I hope this has been fun to watch, and I hope this commentary has been kind of helpful for you. I'm the Late Boy Scout. I really appreciate your support this year, and I really appreciate you guys watching this video. We'll see you on the next one.